have to wonder what Frank's life was like in Kittitas County when he arrived in 1886. It was a much different place back then. And there weren't too many people like Frank there, because Frank was black. The first black resident of the valley, in fact. There he is, off to the side. Not sure how much we can read into that, but how about this article from 1915, remarking about how good and law-abiding he was, as if the expectation were something different. One wonders how much the men in this photograph knew about Frank, about the remarkable life he'd led up to that point. Whether they knew he served in the Civil War with the United States Colored Troops, black volunteer regiments of the Union Army, segregated even while fighting for the side trying to end slavery, but a key part of the victory nonetheless. Frank's regiment was at Appomattox, where Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant. His regiment was also among those in Galveston, Texas on June 19, 1865, when the last of the slaves were told they were free, forever known as Juneteenth.
CSB, the truly progressive city that people talk about all over the nation.
That's Nikita Oliver, a lawyer and community organizer who ran for mayor of Seattle in 2017.
I'm the best person that's positioned to be a bridge builder across many ideologies.
Brianna Thomas is the chief of staff to the council president. She ran for city council in 2015.
I'm the best candidate for this job because I offer pragmatic, experienced leadership.
Sarah Nelson is the co-owner of Fremont Brewing. Worked as a city council aide, she also ran for a citywide council seat in 2017.
In other words, colleges want to see a holistic story of your high school life. Did you participate in sports, activities, internships, community service? But most importantly, Keller says they're looking to see whether or not you are taking rigorous classes like advanced placement courses and how well you did in them.
Fired off this letter to the governor, saying the risk COVID-19 presents to children is extremely low, 0.16% of deaths in the state, adding masks interrupt learning, speech, and language development, asking to leave masking decisions solely to parents and local control when it comes to this issue. Signed by him and 24 other state lawmakers. The governor's response? We have received the letter from legislators, and while we appreciate their input, it is unlikely to change the governor's approach. The governor will continue to prioritize safety of students and educators.
You don't know how to catch up.
But what if there is a way to catch up, a fast way to access one-on-one tutoring on a variety of subjects, like chemistry, for example? Now through an app called Kadama, high schoolers and college students can pick a tutor.
That's right, and the tutors who sign up are oftentimes the same age as the people they're teaching.
And that's something they say they like about Kadama.
When the tutor jumps on our app, through the app they can do a background check, which does a full identity check and everything.
So what does an hourly session cost?
You have to keep moving.
The CARES Act expanded and extended unemployment benefits when President Trump signed the bill into law at the end of March last year. The legislation provided assistance to freelancers, independent contractors, and the self-employed, and anyone who didn't qualify for normal unemployment benefits and who enrolled in the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. The CARES Act also created the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation Program that provided financial assistance for those who still needed money after their normal unemployment benefits ran out. And the law boosted assistance by $1,200 every month for eligible applicants under the federal Pandemic Unemployment Compensation Program. Last week was the last time benefits from all three programs would be paid out to those seeking help.
Overall, murders increased by almost 47% in 2020. Since 2016, murders are up 67%, so we're seeing a fairly rapid increase. Now, manslaughter is also up, meaning someone was killed unintentionally, and that increase is significant, up 100%. Fraud, which we've reported on a lot, has increased by 131%.
Some idea of what would be in the spending package and what wouldn't. Universal pre-K, expanded access to childcare, extension of the child tax credit, and billions for climate change are likely in. Paid family leave and a path toward lower prescription drug prices could be out.
In their letter to the mayor and city manager, They say there were more homicides in 2020 than in the past 26 years. And the number of dangerous fires ravaging Tacoma by arsonists are skyrocketing.
August alone has shown a streak of violence across the city. SPD investigated 3 people being shot in the first week. In the second, a child was injured and another person was shot and killed. The third week included an armed robbery, a drive-by, and a road rage shooting, plus separate incidents left 10 people injured by gunfire and another was killed. Finally, since Sunday, in separate incidents, 2 more people were shot and killed, plus just this morning, SPD says a man shot and killed a 24-year-old man in Capitol Hill. He claims tried to rob him. SPD's public-facing crime dashboard reveals that nearly every month this year has seen an increase in reports of shots fired, non-fatal, and fatal shootings across the city. So far, there are nearly 130 more reports over all of last year. The chart shows gun violence left 99 people injured and another 23 people were killed. But today, Chief Diaz offered conflicting data, saying so far this year, 104 separate shooting incidents resulted in 135 victims to date. And of the 35 homicides landing on SPD's detectives' desks this year, Diaz says 78% are the direct result of gun violence.
It's a complex issue, starting with how to report a missing Native person and to whom. You have tribal police, city police, county law enforcement, state police, and the FBI. If a crime is committed on tribal land, tribal police are the point of contact. But tribal courts can't handle major crimes like homicide, so another law enforcement agency has to step in. If the victim is a tribal member, but the crime happens outside of the reservation, tribal police are notified, and the city or county where it happens technically has jurisdiction. The problem here is not all of these agencies communicate with each other, and not all of them share information on one database.
Globally, they are predicting 3 billion infections. And in the United States, from now until April, they're estimating more than 162,000 Americans to die from COVID.
The pills, designed to look like they're from a pharmacy, have fentanyl in them. It's a substance health officials say is 50% more deadly than heroin and morphine. Meyer says more and more of these pills are showing up in every part of King County.
In a statement today, Wyman writing, "As I assume this new role, I remain committed to protecting the integrity of our elections and working closely with local and state elections officials nationwide to bolster this foundational pillar of our democracy."
They even have a green screen here at their office to get creative backgrounds to reach students where they're at, and that is social media. Right now, they have 1.6 million followers on TikTok.
Here's what the latest numbers look like for the Seattle Police Department. 6 officers failed to submit proof of vaccination, but another 93 are waiting to see whether they'll get accommodations, putting the number of officers who could get fired somewhere between 6 and 99. As for the Seattle Fire Department, 93% are vaccinated, 6 have filed exemptions, and 1% did not submit any paperwork at all, putting the number who could be fired somewhere between 11 and 77.
Thomas Kennedy looks to the future. We asked about her past, specifically this tweet from August of 2020. Property destruction is a moral imperative. You tweeted this in August 2020. What do you mean by that?
It was a joke.